What is up, everybody? It's your boy Doody back again. Yes, with another demonetized video. That's right, that's number 3 in a day. And yes, your boy's obsession, his autism can't help him. The autism just makes Doody, he compels Doody to make content about Phil. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to give my reaction, my thoughts on the KeemStar DSP interview, which I'm not gonna lie, the thing was just super boring. It was. There was one clip that I want to react to, mainly because it pertains to your boy Doody, and I want to drop some information, a little bit of information, what's going on. I'm actually going to be doing a separate video addressing this, where I go into in-depth a little bit more of what happened with me and KeemStar, and that'll be a separate video. That'll probably be that'll be the 4th video in a day. That's of course demonetized, but let's see what Phil and Keemstar had to say in their little interview. Oh, shout out the Hate Army. I'm watching his video. I'm going to attach the clip. Yes, the clip, the unedited clip in my stream for anyone to watch. So let's kick it.
The Hate Army troll.
It's the Hate Army, bro.
Hate Army.
Shout out to Hate.
Good vibes to the
Shout
Hate
out to
Army.
Hate.
Shout out to Hate.
Shout out
Shout out to Hate.
Shout out to Hate.
Shout out for
Shout
hate.
out for hate.
And you know what? Being through 10 years of harassment, abuse by these detractors. I'm not saying everyone else on the internet that watched the detractor content and commented on it. I'm talking about these crazy detractor people. There is a large group of people who can be clapped back at. And I think that now what's been going on with Doody this week, Doody streams, people are seeing
Shout
that
out
now
Doody.
happen.
Shout out
in the
Doody.
public eye, and like, oh shit, Bill actually said something, and that got other people to look at it, and now this is all happening. Because you're right, I don't want to be involved endlessly in a drama sphere of people attacking each other and being at each other's throats. That's not the kind of content that I've ever wanted to make on YouTube.
All right, so yeah, I gotta stop it. I gotta stop it already. So the first thing here, Phil, is I'm sorry, brother. Too late. You got yourself into the drama sphere. You're trying to profit off of it, and the mere fact that you have KeemStar on your stream just simply proves everything you said was bullshit. And the reason why I say that is, how many times did you call KeemStar a scumbag? That you said that he makes blood money. His money comes from being a misery broker. How many times have you talked shit about KeemStar and anyone in the drama universe? And yet you have him here so that you can capitalize on KeemStar's name. Now, I think that's perfectly fine. I mean, when KeemStar was on my stream, I capitalized on it, and that's not the problem. The problem is the hypocrisy. Yet again, I gotta point this out. My problem with Phil isn't that he makes money on his content. No, dude, make that money. I'm okay with you making the money. What pisses me off about Phil is his hypocrisy and his lies. And when he's wasting thousands and thousands of dollars, right? And then he comes on stream the next day and says, I need money to pay my bills. That's some crazy shit. I'll give you one prime example recently. The Kino Casino Review Tech USA documentary show. He made 4K. He made 4K in one night. What did he do the next fucking day? He begged. And then he tried to explain that his begging was perfectly fine, because just because you have one good day doesn't mean you still don't need money. He'll argue that point and say, well, I still need money. Yeah, we understand you still need to make money. That's perfectly fine. But you justifying your begging after making 4K on a stream is not cool. That's the problem, Phil. But again, Phil will obfuscate and try to make it seem like, oh, we're just mad he's making money. No one's mad that you're making money. Phil, I'm telling you right now, make all the fucking money you want, dude. Just don't beg. Don't beg, and don't waste your money on fucking frivolous shit. If you want to waste your money on frivolous shit, go ahead. But don't come on stream and give people the fucking sob story with the little violin that you can't take your fucking wife out to eat a meal on your day off because you don't have any money. Maybe if you didn't waste that $250 that you did last night on Poolin Hogan's on your live stream for just a mean game, maybe if you didn't fucking waste that money on that, right? You would have had money to take your wife out. See, Phil, see what I'm saying? See my argument? See why I have such a big fucking problem with you? It's not that you make money, Phil. I don't give a fuck. You can make $1,000 on every stream. That's perfectly fine. What I'm gonna be fucking annoyed at is the next day when you come on and you beg after making that $1,000 and talking about how, you know, you gotta pay your fucking big bills or you can't take your wife out for a meal. That's the fucking problem. I hope, Phil, you watch this and maybe you understand the fucking gripe that I have about you. And again, let me repeat myself. I do not have a problem with Phil making money. Make that bag, Phil. Just don't be a fucking hypocrite and don't beg. That's it. You stop being a hypocrite and stop begging, and I will stop detracting on you. It's plain fucking simple. And the mere fact here is that you're trying to clean this bullshit up and make it seem like, oh well, I'm not into the drama, and it's like he takes a shit in a room and walks the fuck out. I don't know what the fuck happened. Who took a shit there? You did, Phil. You took the massive shit, and now you're trying to walk away and act like you don't know what the fuck happened. I'm sorry, Phil. You pulled yourself into the vortex when you lined yourself up with the Kino folks and KeemStar, and they both know it. Look at Keem's fucking face right here. Look at Keem's face. He's just thinking about the ways he can fucking farm you. That's what he's doing right here. And yet you're too fucking stupid to realize it. Let's keep going.
But it's kind of hard to not get involved when after 10 years of being abused, people have such bad misconceptions of me. And I think that it is time to maybe start focusing in on certain individuals who have been the worst bad actors in all these situations.
But yeah, ultimately, you do have to pick your battles, and some battles you absolutely you need to take. Like the thing that just happened with Doody and calling him out, right?
Right.
You know, there are certain people that are just stealing your content and they're not adding commentary and they're not the good guys in the scenario. Regardless of what you think of DSP, they are the bad guys. They're stealing content and uploading it. And that doesn't just go against DSP. That goes against the entire, you know, online entertainment sphere. There isn't a single creator that would support what Doody's doing. No one would, you know?
Yeah, we know the rules. We've been in the game for a while and we know what goes and what doesn't go. Listen, originally, over 10 years ago, when people started that "this is how you don't play" series about me, that was actually fair game, and I responded poorly because we didn't know kind of the rules back then. You're talking over a decade ago, what's allowed, what's not. But now we know, as long as you're making a transformative work, you're making your own content, you're commentating on it, you're criticizing something, you're cutting it up so it doesn't represent just a straight copy-paste job, it's fine. But what some of these people are doing is just like I was just saying this right before you got on, Keem. These people broadcast as you're broadcasting, and they're clipping and they're uploading it to their channels before you even finish your broadcast. So how am I supposed to have a chance to make a buck on my own work when you already have people watching it on demand on your channels with no commentary or anything? It's absolutely not acceptable on YouTube. It's not only against partner program rules, it's against the law. It's against DMCA law. You cannot do that. You really think you could take a movie like Avengers Endgame and just cut 30 minutes out of it and put it on your channel and put it, this movie sucks? You can't do that.
You can't do that. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I definitely want to talk about that. So apparently we have a difference of opinion there, because so first of all, what I want to do is I want to challenge people to actually go and check out my content, really look at it. A good portion of my content does have commentary. It does. If I make 4 or 5 videos a day, at least 2 of them have commentary, maybe more. It's not like I'm just straight clipping Phil and just reposting his content. The other thing that I do is the clips that I actually post are segments. Most of my videos, if you watch them of DSP, are 8 minutes. 8 minutes. They're not me essentially just extracting a whole fucking piece of his content. I will take a clip of it and post that. And usually with me is I change it up. My editing may not be great, but I change it, and it could be argued that it is transformative. I'm willing to have that argument, right? But again, my content, if you look at it, has commentary. I do streams. I occasionally will do shorts, right? I'm doing commentary right now, folks, right? But of course, this perception out here is that I'm just stealing Phil's content. Do I have videos up here of a large segment? Yes, I do. And if you're willing to argue that those shouldn't be there, I'm more than happy to have that argument. And if I need to remove them, I'll be happy to do that, right? But the issue is that we've been operating under the agreement, Phil, that you don't give a shit what people do with your content. I have video proof of you saying that. And again, if you want to take it to fucking court, you open your fucking mouth, Phil, about stealing your content. That's the first video I'm going to play. I'm going to say, Your Honor, I got permission to use the content in any way. His own fucking words. And the lawyer's going to look at him. I mean, the judge is going to look at him and say, did you post this? And he's going to have to say, yes, I did. But I didn't mean, it doesn't matter. You posted it and that was your fucking words. He even went out to even say, I, Phil Burnell, as if he was making some declaration in court. That's what he did. So this bullshit argument is that I'm breaking the law. No, I have permission. And if you want to argue that, again, I have a video with him saying that I have permission. Now, if he wants to change that going forward, that's perfectly fine. The other thing I want to address too is that a lot of my clips are clips. For example, I do a lot of his gameplays. Like I do a lot of clips of his gameplays. Like if he's playing Street Fighter or whatever. Those are 45-minute clips that I lace together. To show that he's a shitty gamer. That's what it is. It's essentially, this is how you don't play. Because he wants to sit here and say, well, my content is stealing, but this is how you don't play was perfectly fine. If you go and watch it, this is how you don't play, it was essentially just cut up segments of his gameplay to show the worst of Phil. How is that any different than what I'm doing with his gameplay? I do the same exact thing. And at that, I don't even take all of his content. I take a portion of it. If you want to argue legalities and portions, an 8-minute video out of a 3-hour stream, is that really a problem, Keem? Or Phil, is that really a fucking issue? All right, so, Phil's sitting here saying that this is how you don't play is fair game. So I don't see why an 8-minute clip of mine isn't fair game. Again, go to my content. Most of my videos that are our clips, again, they're 8 minutes. I average about 8 minutes, and they're usually just clips of playthrough. It's not just a half hour of him just talking. It's not that. I do have some of those videos. I tend to edit them a bit. But again, the vast majority of my shit on my streams is not that. And I challenge anyone to go out there and take a fucking look. Go take a look. Go look at my shit, and we can argue whether I'm taking whole segments of Phil's fucking content. And again, we can always argue transformative, what's transformative and what isn't. And lastly, again, I had permission from Phil from doing it, so there you go. That's really what I have to say about that.
Anyway, yeah, and this whole thing with Doody, I didn't want to have to do it, but you get to a point where it gets so bad, and people are telling me this guy is literally now bragging, like he is bragging on his channel that he made $5,000 last month on ad revenue, and it's literally all of your content just on his channel sitting there. And I was like, you know what? Now that I actually have a little bit of clout, now that people are watching my content for the first time in ages, I'm going to say something. And man, did it take off. In less than a week already, this guy got blown up. Like, everyone knows what's going on. And, I mean, I guess from what I'm to understand, he got demonetized today, which
All right, so right there, Phil actually is taking credit for what happened. Phil's taking credit for putting this in motion. Okay, I appreciate you being honest there, Phil, and owning up to your part in this. So just want to publish that I'm not saying Phil did this. I'm not saying that, but he just said right here that because of what his actions, he made the wheels of this kick off. So I just want everyone to be aware that Phil himself said that, not me. I'm not making this shit up. Because, he was upset that I was talking about the money I was making on my channel to actually prove a point that he's a fucking liar when it comes to ad revenue. He got upset because apparently I was making, in his eyes, way too much money. But now that there is no money, that I'm demonetized, what argument do you have now, Phil? What argument that you're going to have when I pump out 5 to 7 videos on you every single day? You can't use the monetization stuff because I'm making zero monies. And unlike you, I'm not going to do a Patreon. I'm not going to add a tips link. Nothing. I'm going to be zero monetized when I pump out my content. So hopefully when you see that I'm pumping out the same amount of content that I was pumping out before, I'm hoping you're man enough to say, well, you know what? I was wrong. Doody is still pumping out that content. I may not agree with it, which is perfectly fine, but at least Doody is a man of his word, and he's still pumping out that content. So, but I doubt that's gonna happen. This next step, this next portion here is regarding KeemStar and what happened between me and him. I'm not gonna play that just yet. I'm gonna do a separate video on that because I have a lot to say when it comes to that. And I'll tell you right now, Keem is partially right. Keem was partially right in our conversation. There were some things in there that no, I don't agree with what he said. The core of it was correct, or so he told me. But there were some things in there that he said that no, I don't agree to. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, this thing was a fucking snooze fest. It was boring. It was Keem. It was Phil. It was Phil essentially telling Keem how great he is, and Keem essentially trying to goad him into doing more drama content. That's what it is. And of course, what Keem wants to do is get him on local podcasts, and eventually maybe make him a part of the stream. That's what he wanted to do. Just like with Kino, folks, where they farmed him. That's the intent here. And again, this nonsense that Phil now wants to take, Phil wanted to take a shit in the room and then walk out and act like nothing happened. I'm sorry, brother, that it doesn't work that way. You can't take a shit in someone's house and then walk out and act like you're not going to get any, blowback for that. You are. Now, that's not a threat. I'm not going to blow back on you, Phil. I'm not. But you know that when you do shit like this, Phil. Okay, so Phil... I'll be honest, Phil, I don't think really copy strikes anyone. I don't think he copy strikes people. I don't think he does that. He's done it in the past, but I don't think he does it as a habit. Like, he doesn't just go around copy striking people. I've said that before. I've said that about Phil, and it's fine to admit that. You don't have to you don't have to lie about Phil. Phil lies enough about bullshit that you can talk about that. But again, and he doesn't do it because he knows that it blow back on his face. For example, like when the Detractor channels were getting copy strike or getting DMCA takedown, people were striking him. I don't agree with that. I don't approve of that. I even came out and even said, dude, that it's not cool. I'm not with that. I don't channel strike anyone. But again, that was the blowback he got, and he wanted to try to take his foot out of the water, And again, not saying that he did channel strike people, because I don't think he did. I think it was his mutt that did it. But again, trying to just, wash your hands off of it and act like it's nothing, it never does, Phil. And again, if you don't, like you said, like you told me, I put myself out there and I was critical of Phil. I was critical of Phil. So that made me fair game for anyone to be critical of me, right? So now I have to suck it up and deal with it. I'm right here, brother. I'm still making content, right? So I could take it. I could take the heat. I could take the criticism. That's what I'm doing. You have to follow suit. So when you have to deal with shit storms, that's on you. Now again, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm saying it right here. I'm being transparent. I'm not doing shit to Phil. I've never channel struck Phil. I've never doxed Phil. I've never put any fucking thing out there from it. I've never told him. I've never reported him to YouTube. Nothing. I've never done any of that because I don't need to. I don't need to because none of that really fucking helps. And I wouldn't do it anyway because I'm not a fucking snitch. But don't complain when people do that shit to you, because I'm gonna say, well, you stoked the fucking flame. You're gonna piss people off for doing this type of shit. And the same thing with KeemStar. KeemStar is like, oh no, me and Doody talked, everything's cool, and he thinks that he's not gonna get, blowback from that. No, everyone's calling him Snitch Star for a reason. And I guess that's something he's gonna have to deal with. And that's the reason why I want to make that separate video, because he said some stuff in here that was true, but some of it I didn't agree with. So anyway, folks, that's all I had to say. Hope you guys enjoyed the Demonetized video. Peace out.